Hi! On the Woodpecker today, I'm making a special dresser for the cottage. At the cottage, we have a small coffee table full of junk. Okay, a good part of it could be stored elsewhere, but we hate this table. Plus, to open the two bottom drawers of this other dresser, it takes two people to move the table. So I decided to build a convertible chest of drawers with 8 drawers to store things, and if we move the drawers, we can unfold the top that gives us a fairly large flat surface if we need it. The other section can also be moved. But to build this piece of furniture, I need wood. Every year in fall, we cut down the trees that died during the summer. Some trees give very beautiful boards, but they are not that easy to move. This spring, we cut all the logs we brought back from the cottage. After a few dozen yards of board, my saw died for the second time in 6 months. This time, I'm going to install a brand new German motor, not one from China. But to continue cutting our boards, we were forced to be creative. We lift the large logs with a chain block and finish cutting all this wood with the bandsaw. I must admit that it's going really well. It won't be the last time we cut boards this way. This gives me a nice pile for building future pieces. After removing the bark, I smear the ends with leftover paint. I won't be using this wood for my chest of drawers, but this one. This means that we have to bring the entire pile of wood down from the loft. Here's all the wood that was there. Hopefully, I'll have enough. Unfortunately, we have to move all the wood we just cut and also last year's boards back up. Here's all the wood we kept on the workshop floor. It's time to surface all of it. I start by surfacing one side and one edge. Some boards need a little more love. Here are all the small boards half surfaced. I still have the long ones to take care of. But before tackling them, I cut all the small boards straight. Here's what I have left. This will give us quite a bit of kindling. Now I can tackle the large boards. Okay, here's the pile of large boards and their kindling. The first thing I'm going to do is glue the 4 small raised panels for the cabinet. This means gluing as many boards together as possible, but not wider than a foot, which is the width of my jointer. I don't have any more clamps, so I'll have to wait for the glue to dry to get the clamps back before I can do another gluing session. Finally, all the small boards are glued. But I will also need longer glue-ups for the top of the cabinet, and since I've got the clamps back, I can glue the long boards. I'm keeping these boards like this for now. I'm having trouble figuring out how many pieces of wood I have on hand. Now that the glue is dry, I can resurface the already surfaced side of all my glue-ups. Here are all my glue-ups with one side straight, as you can see here. The other side needs to be surfaced as well. When that's done, I can glue them together to make the raised panels. In the end, I managed to glue 6 small panels, but I also have to glue the long ones. I concentrate on making sure these glue-ups are better aligned than during the first gluing session. I managed to glue 2 large panels. That's perfect. That's exactly the number I need. Now I can start the joinery. The first thing I do is cut the small glue-ups to make the rails and stiles of the frames. Here is all the wood I will need for the exterior frames. I will use dominoes as a joining system for all this furniture. I mark where to drill the mortises, take the time to identify all the joints, and drill the mortises. I cut a chamfer on all the rails and stiles. I tilt the blade of my table saw at 45 degrees, and with the help of a stop, I cut the inside corners of all the rails. Then with another stop, I cut and remove the wood at the end of the stiles. This is how all the frames will fit together. All the inside corners will look like this. But that's just the first one. There are quite a few more to do. There's a center stile at the back. I measure its length and cut it. After removing the corners, I trace its shape onto the 2 rails of the rear frame. Actually, I traced both, but I don't really need to do that because I stick them on top of the other with double-sided tape. I only use one of my 2 marks to make the notch. It's much easier to stand on this side of the table saw for this cut, because I can see the marks much better. Now that the notches are made, all that's left to do is to make the mortises for the dominoes. the center stile doesn't have a chamfer, so I have to make one. Before going any further, I make a dry fit of all my frames. Next, I can cut the grooves that will hold the raised panels in place. After that, I can measure the size of all the panels I will need. But the large glue-ups were not sanded after their second gluing. I fixed that right away. When I'm finished, I cut the two side panels. But it's only when I come to cut the two back ones that I realize that the glue-ups I wanted to take are too small. I have to add more boards. Because of that, I have to wait for the glue to dry before sanding and cutting them. Now that all the panels are cut to their correct size, I can route the raised profile. I always start with the end grain. Here's what the first pass looks like. Here's what it should look like. So I move the guide and do the second profile pass. In all, I do the profile in 3 passes. When that's done, I sand the profiles and the panels. Before gluing everything, I do a dry assembly on the side panels and the back ones. As everything fits together perfectly, I can take everything apart and glue the 3 panels. In fact, it's not very difficult. I spread glue on the dominoes and a little around them. Being careful not to glue the panels in the grooves. Add clamps and let it dry. When it's dry, it's time to get out the sander and sand everything again. Here, I have a slight problem. The central stile is a little short. Because of that, the top and bottom rails are no longer straight. There's an easy fix. Because all the stiles and rails are wider than I really need, I just use the jointer to fix that. Now this side is straight. All the joints have glue that spilled at the ends of the stiles. It's not a problem because all the stiles and rails are a little wider, so I cut everything to the right dimensions. The joinery between the sides and the back is made with a rabbet. I have to cut them. Using a dado blade does not leave the best surface in the world, so I fix this with a shoulder plane. It's now possible to glue the two sides to the back. To help me keep everything straight, I use right angle corners. When everything is clamped, I make sure that everything is square before the glue sets. Next, I just have to wait for the glue to dry. While I'm waiting, I can start to work on the horizontal parts of the base. After cutting all the ends straight, I cut the two pieces of the sides together. I use these two pieces to measure the length of the back and cut it. I mark for the domino mortises and drill them. Finally, I can glue the three pieces together. I just have to wait for the glue to dry before sanding it. While I have the sander in hand and the glue on the outside of the dresser is also dry, I sand it. Now it's time to work on the vertical part of the base. These boards will be cut at an angle. I tilt the blade of my table saw to 45 degrees and cut them. I put the blade straight and cut the two small ends of the front. I mark for domino mortises and drill them. All that's left to do is to glue all these pieces together. I want to add support where there will be casters. This scrap of plywood is perfect for that. When it's got the right size, I mark for domino mortises and drill them. At the back, I use a piece which is a little too thin to use elsewhere. And like for the rest, I drill domino mortises. To insert the plywood pieces in place, I cut a slot to the size of a domino. To glue them in place, I just have to spread some glue, put the plywood in place through the slots, and with a clamp, sit it in place. The backboard, it's much easier to glue. Again, I just have to wait for the glue to dry. The construction of this dresser is far from finished, but this episode is. If you want to see the rest of the construction of this convertible chest of drawers, you will have to come back to see me on the Woodpecker.